Major red flags are surfacing regarding the purported assassination attempts relating to Donald Trump. Which assassination attempts, you ask? Well, all of them. Donald Trump alleges that there were 4 assassination attempts against him in the past 2 years or so. Additionally, the New York Post recently reported that there are purported assassination plans against Ivanka Trump regarding the IRGC, and that was uncovered. And now they had to arrest an individual in Turkey who was an IRGC cell. And let's just break down all the red flags. The biggest red flag, and you got to give it up to Judicial Watch for making this FOIA request. Rarely will you hear me say, give it up to Judicial Watch. But here, Tom Fitton, who, by the way, is a MAGA guy, he writes, Judicial Watch announced that it forced the release of 48 heavily redacted pages from the FBI through a FOIA lawsuit revealing that the Butler County Sheriff's deputy exchanged emails with the would-be Trump assassin Thomas Crooks prior to the July 13th, 2024 shooting. The records detail that a SWAT officer also recovered a, quote, gray remote device with an antenna from Crooks' pocket after he was killed. And as Kaylin Desi writes, new, here's what the Judicial Watch found. These are records from July 17, 2024, FBI electronic communications indicating that the Butler Sheriff's Office exchanged 2 emails with Crooks, the purported individual who was involved in the purported assassination attempt prior to July 13th Trump assassination attempt. The nature of the emails is redacted. So Judicial Watch did a FOIA request to the FBI. The FBI responded by producing this heavily redacted document. Why do you need all of these redactions right now? What are you investigating that requires all of these redactions to take place? And this references 2 email communications with Crooks from the Butler Sheriff's Office prior to the shooting. Why was Crooks emailing the Sheriff's Department prior to the shooting? Why is the FBI redacting all of this? And I mean, I don't want to go down some path that you can go, oh, Ben, don't go and veer into conspiracy theory land. I hear you. Trust me, I hear you loud and clear, but this can be addressed so simply. Just remove the redactions. Why is everything with this regime, everything's redacted? On Wednesday, July 17th, special agent redacted, interviewed redacted, telephone number. I get why you'd redact the telephone number. Blank advised she redacted, Thomas Crooks in the redacted. It references something about a New York Times reporter emailed her asking questions, but it's all redacted. But 2 emails with Crooks and the sheriffs prior to the July 13th Trump assassination attempt. And remember, Crooks was a registered Republican. He was described as a loner. Here's Thomas Matthew Crooks right here. He graduated in 2022. You can see right there. Remember back in the day when this was going down, FBI probing motives, background of Thomas Crooks, the gunman behind Donald Trump assassination attempt right here. And you'll also remember Channel 4 News at the time can reveal that Thomas Crook, the shooter's father, the owner of the rifle that was used to shoot at Trump, was held on a database and profiled by Trump's election campaign and identified as a strong Republican supporter. And this was someone who was identified by the Trump campaign. The father was selected as a top Trump reporter in the area. Just to remind you of that report here, let's play this clip right here.
Channel 4 News can reveal that Thomas Crooks' father, the owner of the rifle that was used to shoot at Donald Trump, was held on a database and profiled by the former president's election campaign and identified by them as a strong Republican supporter, gun owner, and hunter. The information was compiled as part of a secret Republican project to gather data on millions of gun owners across America and use it to target pro-gun messages in the run-up to the 2016 election.
And here's why they did it.
The city of Pittsburgh is a key battleground in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania, so voters here are always heavily profiled and targeted by political parties, like the Trump campaign in 2016, which held voters' details on a database, including, as we've discovered, the shooter's family, Matthew Crooks and his wife Mary, who lived here at 2506 Milford Drive in Bethel Park. We know they profiled them using secret computer models to identify likely gun owners and enthusiasts, and Mr. Crooks scored very highly, 0.99 out of 1 for being a gun owner and 0.95 out of 1 for being a hunter. In fact, out of more than 19,000 people in Bethel Park who were profiled, Mr. Crooks was in the top 20, and the database classified him as a strong GOP or Republican voter.
Now, recently, when Donald Trump released the medical narrative, when he visited Walter Reed recently, he talked about his ear. May 29, 2026, that was the latest medical narrative from Trump's purported physical, right? And he goes into this assassination attempt again from July of 2024, when they're talking about the various parts of Trump's body, and it says head, ears, nose, throat. Examination was normal, except for scarring of the right ear, consistent with prior gunshot injury. Hearing is intact. Teeth are in very good condition. What do you mean prior with? If you were shot in the ear or the face with an AR-15 bullet, it would blow up your entire face. You don't get a little scratch. It's not consistent with it. So clearly Donald Trump is behind that medical report. But you may be saying, why would you bring back up Butler? And now you have the FOIA request surfacing. Why? Because he wants to build his ballroom, and he's using all of these assassination attempts, these purported assassination attempts, to go to the judge and say, here's why I need my ballroom. At the same time, his lawyers are arguing that if they can destroy the Statue of Liberty, and once it's already destroyed, there's no standing to sue them to stop their destruction or to force them to rebuild the Statue of Liberty. Marjorie Taylor Greene posted the following yesterday. The question is, why is the only information that we have about the Butler shooting coming from Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch instead of from the Trump administration and the man who was shot in the ear himself? It shouldn't take a FOIA lawsuit to find out what happened. Yeah, release the medical records from Butler. Just release the report so we know what went down. They refused to do that. I'll show you over here, though, when Donald Trump was in when he went to Wisconsin on Friday, he started again talking to the farmers about his ear, and he's trying to use this as he's the least popular president in history to build sympathy, to get his ballroom. Remember what he said? He brought it up again this Friday. You can hear for yourself. Let's bring it up.
Or a small business. Now, I saw it myself. You have a way of life that sometimes you're land rich and cash poor, sometimes you're lots of different conditions, but people that are on farms love being on farms. You wouldn't trade my life, you wouldn't want my life, believe me, you don't want it. Your life is much better than my life. I will tell you, your ear wasn't a little pierced over here, you didn't get pierced. You have a nice, safe, beautiful life, but I've seen...
Okay, and just so you remember what happened at Butler, I'll just show you a very short video footage for yourself. Play this clip.
No. Wait.
And here's how he talked about it right after, a month later when he was giving a press conference. Let's play this clip.
Yeah, pretty much recovered, yeah. I'm a fast healer. It's a hell of a shot, but I'm a fast healer. Yeah, pretty much recovered. Do you have any hearing damage? No, it didn't hit that. I got very lucky. It just hit the lobe, as they call it.
Is there a scar on your ear?
Yeah, a little bit, not much. On top.
And here's how he was talking about it to Joe Rogan shortly after that. Here, play this clip right here.
He was a nice guy. Once they shot you, I was like, he's got to come in here. It's all about timing. It's all about the timing.
Timing's
I think
good.
our timing's perfect. Do you even have a scar on your ear? You got anything on there?
I do.
What do we say? What do you got there?
So right over here.
Oh, it's a tiny little
See,
mark.
it zicked right there.
Yeah. But it healed up pretty fucking good.
Well, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's little. It's not like some of the wrestlers, some of the UFC fighters.
No, you didn't
It's
get
a little
cauliflower
bit-
ear.
No. It was sort of like a top shot.
Mm-hmm.
The point of the bullet was a
Boy.
little of the ass, but you see the thing's taken off a little bit. But it makes me a tougher guy. You know, the fighters.
So now this brings us to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Donald Trump recently posted, what was this? Yeah, about 4 days ago, he posted, in a sign of strength and fortitude, it was just announced that the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which violently ended rather abruptly on April 25th, will be rescheduled to July 24th. This announcement is a very good thing in that we cannot allow lunatics to change our way of life or even its scheduling. I was asked to be there and speak by Weijia Jiang, president of the White House Correspondents Association, and I accepted. I don't know whether or not I will give the same rather nasty statements, at least as it concerns certain people, but we will soon find out. In any event, it will be a hot ticket. Interestingly, the location will be the Waldorf Astoria on Pennsylvania Avenue, a building and ballroom that I built. Donald J. Trump. And again, you see what he's doing there to try to gain sympathy. And it should be noted that that the individual, Cole Allen, has been held in solitary confinement. He wasn't given access to his lawyer, and he was treated so poorly by the Trump regime when he was incarcerated that the federal judge apologized for his treatment for not getting access to his lawyer and for being treated that way. Also, J.D. Vance is now saying that Charlie Kirk's assassination is the reason that he's had another baby with his wife, Usha. He was inspired by the Charlie Kirk assassination to have a baby. Ivanka Trump has allegedly been targeted for an assassination by IRGC terrorists in a twisted plot to avenge the president taking out his mentor. I mean, this is even too much for Candace Owens and Hunter, who both agree that what the hell is even happening here? Here's what they just said when they were interviewed together. Here, play this clip.
I mean, whether it's Butler or Charlie or
Butler makes no sense.
These things that it's just not right. And I mean, it's so glaringly not right. It's almost as if they're just saying,
F
like,
you.
F you.
They're not even
I don't
trying.
care.
We don't even
You know
get
what?
good psyops anymore. And that's what I keep saying. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
so disrespectful that we're not even getting good psyops anymore. Like we're supposed to believe he survived four assassination attempts, the
Yeah.
first president that's ever survived 4 assassination attempts.
Yeah.
They lie to us about things, they make a big deal, and then they make it want to, it's going to go away. They're going to keep pretending and telling us that this is a totally normal grieving widow. Okay. No one's buying that. Like that something's
No.
just not right here. Everyone can see that this is not how you would react to your husband being shot. And this sort of just, I'm fine. And like 2 weeks later, I fully accept the narrative. I have no interest in anything else. It's over. Let's close it. I forgive him. Let's move on. You're asking us to abandon our common sense and our humanity is what you're asking us to do. And that kind of seems like where we're at. Like they're insisting on this. And I'm going, where is this going to go? Because we're not doing the thing they want us to do. Like they are just constantly giving us slop all the time. I mean, even the recent White House Correspondents' Dinner, there was so much theater to it after, so much theater. And now it's kind of, okay, Secret Service maybe shot each other and we're just going to kind of quietly move on. But Trump needs the ballroom. Like that's a normal reaction. Hey, there's a shooting duck. Hey, well, we better get that ballroom.
And by the way, it's going to cost $1 billion now. And by the way, it's not from donors. And by the way, we're going to do it. Like it's just the constant, like talk about gaslighting.
This has been just this, and we're not even. Are we even a year into Trump's second term?
We're a little over a year.
A little over a year in a second term, and I don't think there's just been. I'm like, how are we going?
Right, and that brings us to the latest purported assassination attempt involving somebody by the name of Nasiri Best. Right, that was a few weeks back at the White House. This guy wasn't even really all that close to the White House. Schizophrenic guy, previously threatened the White House. He had an FTA, a failure to appear, at his court date from 2025 when he had had these kind of schizophrenic episodes where he was making threats at the White House. Janine Pirro oversees the prosecutors. They knew about this schizophrenic guy, and apparently they just let him loiter around the White House for lots of time. And then finally, when the guy was, had allegedly had a gun on him, Secret Service shot at him basically 30 times. And then they called that another assassination attempt. And it was just a schizophrenic guy who the White House knew from 2025, who was arrested for making threats in 2025, who was allowed to walk on the streets and just not show up at his court appearances. So you had that happen as well. And then Trump sends his sycophants like Ashley Moody out there, MAGA Republican senator, to say the following. Here, play this clip.
Be the people who care about the success and future of this country that the people that elected you sent you here to be. We know that the person who attempted the assassination on President Trump's life on Saturday night had attended No Kings rallies. I mean, we are talking about so much more than another incident. How many times are we going to have an assassination attempt? How many times are we going to have another radical left attack? You know, the radical left attacks, the violent attacks have increased dramatically in the last few years. And I would just say this has become so much more about another incident or another attack. This is no longer about two teams battling on the field for policy and how to achieve the success for this nation. You now have a team who is purposefully trying to take out a quarterback. It's like Bountygate all over again.
And then Donald Trump has made filing after filing in the ballroom case, where he wants to build his golden ballroom, reply in support of defendant's motion for an indicative ruling, supplemental authority. So notice of supplemental authority in support of motion for an indicative ruling right here. On Saturday night, May 23rd, a shooter once again sought to murder the president, his family, and his staff. We submit this urgent filing to update the court on a second attempted assassination on the president within a single month. Just show us the reports, show us the documents, show us the Butler medical record, remove the redactions over there. It's incident after incident after incident. And we just want the truth. Just stop redacting it. Stop covering up the documents. And this way we can all have it and we could all look at it and we could all make sense of it. And there wouldn't be red flags. It's be like, okay, here's what happened. But when you keep on covering it up, what do you expect us to think? Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.